So, welcome back to the course on blockchain. In the last class, we have looked into a broad overview about how blockchain technology can be useful for managing data and access to the data at government level. So, today we will look into certain use cases of that. So, let us start with a few case studies. So, the first case that we are looking into is using the blockchain technology for audit and compliance. So, this financial data, it is a huge vulnerable data for an organization, and interestingly the financial data, whenever you are going to collect it from an organization that need to be audited periodically at the end of every financial year. So, this financial data actually it comes from multiple subdivisions under organization. So, normally it happens that you just think of a large company which wants to give tax, income tax, their income tax at the end of the financial year, and they have to show their audit that that was the total amount of income over the financial year, the total amount of expenditure over the financial year, and what total profit that they have gained, based on which they have to submit the tax, the government tax. Now, the government auditor, their task is to verify that whatever the claim this particular institution or the organization it is making, that particular claim is actually a valid claim and there is no falsification in the data. Now, the question comes that if you just look into the entire auditing purpose which is applied nowadays. So, this auditing procedure it is very complex, and the auditors they have to manually check every purchase and every big purchase and the different expenditures which are being reported by organization or by a company in details, and try to find out that whether there is certain kind of inconsistencies in the information that they are sharing overall. So, in this aspect blockchain can play a good role. We will see that how blockchain can be utilized in for this purpose, but the trouble come into picture because even in an organization which is divided into multiple such subdivisions. So, whenever some financial matter comes, the institution or the organization, the top financial authority of the organization, they share the money or the profit or the fund among multiple subdivisions. Then there are financial authority at the subdivisions, they again can share or distribute the fund into the lower level, or they can spend certain funds themselves. And for the auditing purpose, the logs start coming from the lower level. So, the lower level or the bottommost level of the organization, they submit their audit logs to their parent organization or the parent division. They validate the audit logs and then send it again to their parent organization. That way, this entire organizational architecture it forms some kind of tree, and through which this funds propagates from top to bottom, whereas this audit logs propagates from bottom to top. So, the challenge again may come that sometime this individual organizations or different divisions of an organization, they may spread across multiple geographic domains. And so, for example, if you think about the top IT companies like say Microsoft, Google, Facebook, whatever you name for, they are spread across multiple countries, and the auditing rules, the financial rules at different countries are actually different. So, how these companies are actually going to manage this entire financial data for auditing and the compliance purpose. So, you may have multiple owners and authorities to manage this data. So, this auditing it requires information about all the key transactions which have happened over the reporting time. So, as I mentioned, this auditing is a difficult task because you need to gather this entire data and perform the auditing at the different level, then combine them together and find the auditing at the organization level. So let us see that how blockchain can make this entire process simplified. Well, so before even going to blockchain, let us see that what if we store the data in a centralized server. So if you store the data in a centralized server, first of all you have the problem of a central server. So if that central server gets hacked, all your data are gone. Next question comes that who will manage the server? It may happen that the administrator of that server, the administrator is, or sometimes the administrator may be a group of people, they are not authorized or do not have the power to view the data. But it may always happen that the administrator can tamper the data. You can restrict the view of the data by applying certain kind of security mechanism like encryption of data and so on, so that only the authorized persons or authorized agent can look into that data, but you do not have any control where the data is being stored. So sometime I think you have heard of that people have destroyed certain logs or certain entries just to make it difficult for the life of the auditor, difficult to find out that what particular problem has been happened over this data. So if the administrators are compromised, the administrator can always tamper the data. So that way, putting something on a central server is not always safe, or you will never be able to guarantee the absolute safety of that data. Then another question comes with this kind of auditing purpose, that what is the validity of the data which is provided by different divisions. So it is like that, if you think of that the entire organization is in a kind of tree structure, and at every level you are, so at every level you are doing individual auditing, and whatever auditing report is coming from this lower level, the auditor at this level they rely on the audit data which is coming from the lower level. Now what if the auditor who is there at this level, that auditor itself is compromised? So that way it becomes difficult even for this middle level auditor or the top level auditor to find out that something bad has happened with this data. So even someone who is there in the part of the system, they may get compromised. That we have to assume on a real environment or on a real scenario. So here comes the blockchain. So you put the data in a blockchain. So the blockchain, it collects all the transaction records from diverse set of divisions. Now on top of blockchain, you can apply the privacy policy, or you can apply the concept of channels. So here I am utilizing a term which Praveen has explained to you in the context of Hyperledger Fabric. So over blockchain you have this concept of channels, where the information which is shared in one channel, it remain private to only the users of that channel. So that way, by creating multiple channels, you can have access control over the data, like you can ensure that only this valid personnel or the authorized personnel, they will have access to the data, and no one else will have access to the data, or they will not be able to view that data by utilizing multiple channels altogether. But you can prove that what data is there over the entire blockchain, and that entire data is tamper proof. Now the copy of the blockchain, the good thing here is that the copy of the blockchain is there on individual parties. So no one will be able to tamper the data or destroy its local database to entirely falsify the system or make the system difficult to prove that certain bad has happened over the system. So what was the problem with keeping the data in a central server? So if the administrator was compromised, so the administrator can delete the data, delete that portion of the data, and make the life of the auditor difficult to prove that certain bad has happened. So there was no way to prove that certain bad has happened, but with this blockchain, because no one has control over the entire blockchain, rather the entire technology is a decentralized technology. No one will be able to delete that data once that data has been written in the blockchain platform. And this append only feature of blockchain, it gives this power to the entire system to prove that what happened to individual transactions, and making auditing of the transactions becomes much easier. So, we have multiple advantages here. First of all, it reduces the cost of auditing. You do not need to talk individually to every division, and you do not require an auditor at every division. The top level auditor, it can simply look into all the transactions happened there and find out whether something bad has happened or not. So, the auditors, they have the global view of the data. Now, second thing, the compliance, it becomes passive to active. This is one important achievement by utilizing the blockchain platform. So, the auditors can write certain small codes on top of this blockchain, certain small scripts like the smart contracts, to automatically validate that whether certain transactions are complying with the existing transaction or existing fund availability or not. So, even before the transaction has happened or the transaction has been initiated, you can check this compliance report, you can check the compliance by writing the smart contracts on the blockchain platform. That gives the additional power, and because of which people claim that blockchain is a disruptive technology that can change, that has the power to change this entire financial management system for auditing and compliance checks. So, after you have purchased something, the auditor need not to check for the compliance. Even before the purchase has happened, the smart contract itself can check the compliance. And remember that the smart contract is itself a publicly available code. So, anyone can see that what is there written in the smart contracts, and they can validate whether the smart contracts is actually doing the correct thing or not. So, you cannot insert a smart contract as a malware or a as a malware or a virus inside the blockchain architecture, because everyone can validate that code and that particular script is open to all. So, that script will automatically execute and validate the system has having compliance, the new transaction that is coming, it is having compliance with the old transactions and already having the fund which is there with individual subdivisions or the divisions of an organization. The second use case, which is having a lot of debate nowadays, is looking into the citizen identity. So, Aadhaar has the debate from this platform, like whenever you have the citizen identity data or the Aadhaar data, that particular identity data, that is being accessed by multiple independent organizations. So, you have the individual personals who are getting their data recorded. So, you have this local data collection agency who are recording the data and then transferring the data to the identity database. Then you have the record keeping agency. The record keeping agency is ensuring the security of this database, but this particular data is actually accessed by multiple organizations. So, I have just tried to take an example of the Aadhaar data and the different organizations who are currently accessing my Aadhaar data. So, the banks or the post office have your Aadhaar data, the mobile companies, they are taking your Aadhaar data to validate that you are an authorized person for having a Indian SIM. For getting a public sector services, you have to register your Aadhaar details to validate that you are a citizen of a country and you are authorized to get that particular service. So, this entire data, it is shared and accessed among multiples for verification of identities. Now, as an individual, this individual, it does not have any information about with whom the data has been shared or who are currently accessing my data. Now, if I put this entire thing in a blockchain, or if we control the entire access to a blockchain, so this blockchain can have the information about who has accessed my data. As an individual, I can verify that how my data has been accessed. I can verify that what part of my data has been accessed. So, if you look into the identity data have multiple fields. It has your name, it has your identity, it has your mobile number, it has your address. So, if a mobile agency access your Aadhaar data, you can find out from this blockchain that which part of the data has been looked by the mobile agency, or even you can write some smart contracts there which will not disclose your entire Aadhaar data, rather it will just take the data from the mobile, it will validate the data with the data which is available with the Aadhaar database, and it will simply reply back with an yes or no. So, that way as an individual, as a citizen of the system, you can find out that who has access to your data and for what purpose they have access to your data, and you can also verify that who are the different entities in the overall system who are having access over the entire Aadhaar data. So, you can have something called the access auditing of the system. So, you can find out that who are accessing the data and for what purpose they are accessing the data, or what part of the data is being accessed in this entire procedure. The third use case that I am going to talk about is from the defense perspective. Now, this defense, it is a truly multi-organizational system where you require multi-organization information flow. So, if you look into the defense architecture of a country, it has three broad systems. It has its own army, it has the navy, and it has the air force. Now, this individual three organization or three subdivision of defense, they have their own policies, their own regulation for sharing the data or sharing the information. Now, with this multi-organization information flow in a defense, you can track the information origin, the flow and destination. So, if you remember the Byzantine general problem and which can happen in a defense scenario, and if you are utilizing a blockchain with this consensus mechanism to find out that what instruction has been passed from army to navy or from navy to air force, everyone can see that and everyone can validate the origin of the information and the correctness of the information. Then the asset tracking, whenever the military assets are transferred from different organization of the entire defense. Then the certification of the pupils of machines, that can be done by utilizing the blockchain technology. So, in general, this defense secure messaging and transaction platform, it can utilize this concept of blockchain technology. So, this defense cyber security, it relies on the secrecy of information and the trust among individuals. So, in general, whatever information is coming from army to navy, the navy commanders, they trust the information which is coming from the army commander. Now, if that army commander is compromised, that is a big threat to the entire country. Now, ensuring this kind of security or the secrecy of information and the trust, both are difficult to ensure in a real environment. So, we need to ensure that only the privileged information has been accessed. So, no one is accessing some information which is not intended for them. Information logs which are there, they are not being tampered over time, and provenance tracking of information origin of flow. So, from where the information has actually originated and how the information has flown over the entire system. So, this entire thing can be mapped on a services which is provided by a blockchain platform. So, again just like the earlier case, you put everything in a blockchain. Whenever certain information is flowing, you first put in a blockchain and then make a flow of the information. So, you have a transaction log, and through that transaction log anyone can validate the origin of the transactions and the movement of the transactions over the entire system. Well, now let us see a success story where blockchain has been utilized. Not only the blockchain, several other digital or e-governance concept has been utilized. So, we are talking about a small country called Estonia. So, Estonia is a country in Northern Europe. If you look into the demography of that particular country, it has a area of 45,227 kilometer square. According to 2011 census, a population of some 12,94,455. So, the population density you see, it is pretty low, it is 28 per square kilometer, and the GDP of the country as per the 2018 data, it is $43.567 billion. So, Estonia, they have launched a platform called e-Estonia. So, in e-Estonia, you can have digital ID card and a decentralized distribution system of the information among the people of Estonia. So, it supports multiple services there, like you can file the taxes within 5 minutes and that can get validated, because all the information is over that distributed digital platform. You can sign a contract electronically, you can register a business again within some 30 minutes, everything is done electronically over that platform. You can become a e-citizen of Estonia by subscribing to that particular platform, and you can participate in iVoting, so vote over the internet. So, let us have a tour of e-Estonia. So, here is the site for e-Estonia. So, where it can find out the different services provided by e-Estonia. So, the tagline is very nice, that we have built a digital society and so can you. So, let us look into the services which are being provided by e-Estonia and which are basically successful for Estonian perspective, like this e-governance, e-tax. So, let me just increase the font. So, this e-governance, e-tax, X-road, digital ID, iVoting, public safety, blockchain. So, here they have utilized the blockchain for many applications. So, here there is a details that the type of services that they have utilized over the blockchain platform. Say this information system authority, where they have utilized the information system for developing a blockchain based architecture. So, here you can see that different kind of information system that they have utilized using blockchain. So, the entire state information system that was offloaded over the blockchain platform. So, the administrative system, the data exchange, even the public key infrastructure, the document exchange. So, for all these things they have utilized blockchain based platform. Then this e-health, e-residency, and many other ambitious features like that they are trying to build up on this e-Estonia platform, and many of these services they are utilizing the concept of public domain blockchain technology. So, you can just browse through this website and you can look into the different aspect on which they are utilizing different e-governance technique and different type of services over this kind of blockchain platform. So, this is a nice success story where a government organization, it has utilized the blockchain platform to build up nice applications and nice architecture, where you can perform many transactions, or you can access different kind of database, the medical records, the educational information in one click, and you can ensure the safety of the information on top of that platform. So, I request all of you to explore this e-Estonia platform and look into the different services that they have developed, and also look into the details about how they have utilized this blockchain concept to develop multiple services for e-governance perspective. That will give you a broad idea about how you can utilize blockchain for building up services for a nation. So, in today's class we have talked about few such applications and use cases where government can benefit from the utilization of blockchain platform. We will look into many of such other applications in details as we make progress. So, I hope that you have enjoyed this lecture with this particular information about the success stories of blockchain in a real platform, which actually make you a motivation that well Bitcoin can be one application built up on blockchain platform, and because of all this financial and economic debate over Bitcoin, even if you keep aside Bitcoin from this blockchain concept and if you focus on the blockchain itself, you can build up plenty of services over this platform. So, we will come up with few of or many other such applications in our subsequent lectures, and we will look into the details of them. So, thank you all for attending the class today.